Hello there again, boys and girls. To continue on with our story, it's called A Big Crowd. Do you remember who our two characters' names are? We have Maria and we have Waldo. So let's see what's going to happen today with Maria and Waldo. The large hall in Sampson High School was jammed. Maria told Waldo that there were nearly 2,000 people in the hall. Some people had come from over 30 miles away to see the show, and when Maria walked out on the stage to announce the first act, the crowd cheered and applauded. But the show was a complete flop. Each trick started out pretty well, but then the animals stopped performing. The first act was Homer. He played Mary Had a Little Lamb without making one mistake. Then he tossed the hammer into the air. Waldo caught it and tossed an ordinary dog treat into the air. The dog caught it, took one bite of it, and spit it out. The crowd began to chant, "Do it again! Do it again!" "All right," Maria said. Here is Mary Had a Little Lamb. One more time." Waldo handed the hammer to Homer. Waldo patted Homer on the head and said, "Play the tune." Homer looked at Waldo, hit the glass that made the lowest note 3 times, dropped the hammer on the floor. Waldo tried again. He gave the hammer to Homer, patted him on the head, and said, "Play the tune." One more time. This time Homer dropped the hammer on the floor and looked down. Maria came out on the stage smiling. "He's just a little tired, folks, but don't worry, we have other acts." The other acts were even worse. Gromer the rabbit was next. Here's how Waldo usually rewarded Gromer and the 4 mice for doing the trick. First, Gromer would stand on the table with his front legs on the tightrope, waiting for the 4 mice to get on his back. Waldo always gave Gromer a little bit of special food for waiting without moving. As the mice climbed onto Gromer's back, Waldo gave each mouse a little bit of food. Then after the rabbit had walked all the way across the tightrope, Waldo would reward all the animals again with a little bit of food. This time Waldo rewarded the rabbit with little pieces of carrot, and he rewarded the mice with little pieces of cheese. Here's what happened. Gromer got in place with his feet on the tightrope. Waldo gave Gromer a little piece of carrot. The rabbit sniffed the carrot and then started to look around. The 4 mice climbed onto Gromer's back. As each mouse got in place, Waldo gave the mouse a bit of cheese. Not one of the mice ate the cheese. The first 3 mice just sniffed it and looked away. The 4th mouse sniffed the cheese and then took a bite out of Waldo's finger. Waldo jumped back very suddenly. The rabbit jumped, the mice jumped, and started fighting. The rabbit leaped into the air and ran off the stage. 1 mouse was still hanging on to Gromer. The others were on the table still fighting. People in the audience started talking to each other. "What's going on?" some of them were saying. "This isn't a very good show at all." And here's what happened. Poor Waldo. Maria came onto the stage again. "Sorry about that, folks," she said. She was trying to smile, but you know how animals are. Let's hope our next act will do a little bit better. This act is one of the most amazing acts you will ever see. If you've never seen pigeons tap dance, this act will be a real treat for you. And here they are. Ladies and gentlemen, the tap dancing pigeons. The crowd applauded. Some people were saying, "I've seen this act, and it's great." The tap dancing pigeons weren't very good this time. Waldo brought out the pigeons, turned on the peppy music, and gave the birds a signal to start dancing. And they danced quite well, at least for a while. Usually Waldo would toss them a special bit of food as they danced, but this time he tossed them little bits of bird seed. The birds blinked and spit out the seeds. Before the song was halfway over, one of them stopped dancing and started to peck at the buttons that were attached to his feet. Then one of the other birds started dancing out of tune with the music. Soon that pigeon stopped dancing. It pecked at a third bird. The third bird pecked at the first bird. The first bird flew to the back of the hall and landed on top of the picture. "This is a bad act," somebody shouted from the back of the audience. Again, the people in the audience began to talk to each other. Maria came out of the stage and smiled. She tried to talk, but the people in the audience did not listen. They were busy talking to each other. They were saying things like, "Who said this was a good show? And these animals aren't even trained well." Waldo was thinking, "I hope the show is over soon." Wow. I feel very bad for Waldo and Maria.